Well, you know what? Before we do what today is, because today is National Mushroom Hunting Day, especially in Colorado, I guess. But let's introduce Cynthia. Cynthia, say hello.
Hello there.
No, hello.
Hello.
And tell us a little bit about what you do, and then we'll get back to you and we'll talk. But for right now, just tell us who and what you are, other than human.
All righty. Well, I am Cynthia Sender, and I am by training a gerontologist, and we can talk about that, what that means later.
Has to do with old people, right?
It has to do with the study of aging and lifespan development and old people.
Let's drink the oldies.
Yeah,
Sure not, but that's all right.
Cheers to the oldies. And I work with a very fine company called Care Assist Services, and we do in-home care primarily for seniors, and we can talk more about that in a bit. Well, one of the most important things that one can do is one ages is to have a game plan. And
I never did that.
Well, it's never too late. It's never too late to have a game plan.
All right.
And an important element of anyone's game plan will be, how will I manage when I can no longer manage on my own? What's going to happen? Am I moving somewhere? Are my family members expected to care for me? Or am I going to hire professional caregivers who are trained, screened, and know what to do? So
that sounds like it makes more sense.
You know, that ends up being the best option if one can afford it, and that goes back to your bailiwick of mortgages. But when you can afford to bring in professional care, the results are always going to be better. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But the most important reason is the professionals. We have benchmarks. We know what we're looking for, and we know what to do when a person begins to decline from the time we start caring for them. So there's a lot more to it than people realize, and for that reason, it's good to retain professionals who can give you either advice, guidance, or actually provide the care.
And let me just say hello to Angel, who's watching, and Terry. Terry, I just want to let you know that I had lunch today with, who did I have lunch with? Oh, yeah, Jay Perry and Joe Franco. And Vaughn Sigmund was supposed to meet us, but he got sidelined with a client. So just letting you know, a lot of the group is still together as we age, although some of those people aren't too old. Okay, you said start declining. How do we know? Now, I know it's important for you from the outside looking in, but someone like me who looks in the mirror every day and sees a 24-year-old, how do I start realizing there's a decline?
It's really based upon your abilities. And
I mean, other than something kind of semi-catastrophic or whatever happening.
Exactly. So it's really based upon your abilities to manage what we call activities of daily living. Those are bathing, grooming, eating, dressing, ambulating. So when a person begins to have difficulty managing the most basic elements of staying alive, that is when you know, hey, I'm not going to be able to do this forever. I can't manage on my own, or I'm not managing well, or it's becoming a danger to manage on my own. So that's usually kind of how it starts. It becomes a dangerous, precarious situation to take a shower, or to try to produce a meal in the kitchen if you're with a walker, or you're in a wheelchair, or you're with a cane. So and then, of course, there's the cognitive issues. If you can't remember things, it's going to be very hard to remember how to prepare a meal you always prepared, or when you took your last shower. So those are kind of the obvious tracks, either becoming frail or becoming mentally impaired.
Well, memory is something I do have. I do remember being in the crib I do. I remember being not in a stroller, but like a baby buggy and looking at the leaves up above on 6 Mile Road in Detroit. I remember that. But 5 minutes ago, I have trouble with that. Is that anything, or should I even ask?
I think that memory will decline.
Oh, well, hello, Dennis.
Hi, how's it going?
Oh, very good. This is Cynthia. Do you know Cynthia?
I
know
met
Dennis,
Cynthia
by
at
the
one
way,
of the
so,
Tuesday
you know,
meetings,
it's-
and also I met her at one of the other functions on the monthly meetings at the hospital there in
okay.
Laguna
Oh,
Hills.
Well,
wonderful.
that's where I met her.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So let's let her talk a little, but hang on because you can call, you can drop in questions as we
Okay.
go. Okay.
Okay, very good.
All right. And we'll talk about Dennis a little bit when we have some time. But go ahead, Cynthia.
So I don't think that small lapses of memory are of a concern, but the real issue is how often is it happening? Are you able to, again, it goes back to, are you able to manage your own affairs? Are you remembering to pay the bills? Are you remembering to take your medication? Those are the
my
indicators.
wife pays all the bills. And that other, I already forgot what you said before that. See?
Medication, that's key.
Oh yeah, but I take, you know how many prescriptions I take every day?
20.
Well, that's good. I like that. Actually, it's 8. And I'm still alive, but so be it.
Great.
So either Cynthia take off, or Dennis, go ahead and throw out your question.
Hi, Cynthia and Jay. Yeah, Cynthia, if you could share with the audience the difference that you have with your home care business versus a franchise business, and what it means to people that you might be helping out.
Oh, sure. That's a great question. I'm so glad you asked. So when you're working within a franchise environment, there's quite a bit of difference in a couple of ways. One is that you're typically limited geographically to zip codes. So maybe you met me and I own a franchise and you want to utilize my services for your mother, but your mother doesn't work within that particular doesn't live within that particular zip code. Knowing a great person, it's not always going to work out. When you have an independently owned home care company, we are not limited geographically. We can take on clients anywhere, in our case, anywhere in Orange County and adjoining areas. A second but more important factor is in an independently owned agency, in our case, our founder, Janice Adams, is an RN. And that is significant because our foundation of our company is clinically based, and the knowledge base is very deep and strong. And oftentimes in a franchise environment, the owners are operators, but they don't have a healthcare background necessarily. They are typically more business-oriented people who purchase a franchise. So those would be kind of the big distinctions. There are more distinctions than that, but those would be very important to keep in mind.
Yeah, because if you have family members that are living a little different place, you can keep maybe the same, if not the exact same caregiver, you can keep it within the same, quote, family.
Exactly.
And also that you have people trained in healthcare, not just business. It's probably better for the patient in a lot of ways to make sure that whatever company you're working with, whether it's franchise, not franchise, whatever it is, that they have those kind of people. And I don't think most healthcare companies do they?
Well, it's not a requirement to open a home care business. You can come from any walk of life and get the license and get a business license and get a home care license and follow the rules. It doesn't mean you won't do a great job and your heart isn't in the right place. However, you don't have the foundation of a person such as myself with a training in gerontology from USC, which is the study of aging as a profession, or you won't have an RN who's going to come out and do the baseline assessment when you're acquired as a client and has a clinical knowledge of what to look for. You would possibly have a layperson doing that initial assessment. They're not going to tune into the medications you're taking. Are there perhaps interactions? Are you taking too much? Are you taking too little? So there are many reasons why you would want a clinically based program backing up your home care caregiver.
Yeah, makes sense. So what, Dennis, anything else
too,
you can think of right now? You can think of it later, too.
No, I'll also talk about, the type of checks that you do with your in-home care people, for the protection of the people that utilize your services, and I'll let you go.
Oh, the kind of background checking?
Mm-hmm, yes. On the people that go out to do care for the patients or your clients.
Right. So by state law, we are required to do background checks, and these screenings include Department of Justice and a state as well. So a felon cannot be your caregiver. And the screenings are very important, and they are required by the state. So hopefully any licensed home care company is doing the same level of screening that we are. But it is a very important part of the process that your caregivers are screened by the authorities and that they carry the home care aid license, which is issued by the state of California. They're on a registry of home care aides. So the fact that they were screened, they're eligible to work as home care aides.
Okay. So and you don't need to leave, Dennis, if, it's always good to know there's somebody on the line. But whatever you need to do. Well, goodbye, Dennis.
Bye, Dennis.
Yeah, well, and thank you if you're still listening, though. And we'll talk a little later. So Dennis is a good friend of mine I've known for many years. He talks a little funny, but that's okay. So let's get back to some of the major things having to do with healthcare. What about one of the first things that come to my mind has to do with the health care, like family health care givers. Okay. They need a break too sometimes, right?
That is true. As a matter of fact, the caregivers, the family caregivers caring for either their spouse or their parent or other are under tremendous daily stress, and it's really difficult for them to care for themselves.
Well, it's a full-time job to start with, so you have to have that time and freedom. By freedom, we always mean money, but you have to have that kind of time and freedom to be able to do it, and then it drives you nuts when you do it. You want to do it because you're helping your family. I mean, there's no question that you want to do it, but it's only so much anybody can take, right?
Well, this is true, and we actually have a name for that type of care. We call that respite care, and because we're giving respite to the primary caregiver. And what typically happens is if that primary caregiver needs the weekends off to do things or any other day of the week.
I'd like to take the weekend off. You think you got some people to come over and help?
I do. I do. They might be the wrong kind of people for you, but
all right.
We have people, and what the respite caregivers do is we can plug in, even if it's just 1 day a week or 2 days a week, to give that primary caregiver a break and take over some of those duties, whether it be, again, the typical duties of bathing, grooming, or hygiene, preparing meals, getting to the doctor, transportation, overseeing medications, all parts of daily living for a senior person. That's what the respite caregiver would do.
Do you ever do jobs for, we don't like to see it, but sometimes younger people need help too.
We do.
Or get sick.
We do. We are able to help anyone who is an adult, so that is 18 years of age and above. And we have I've personally been involved with numerous cases where it's been spinal cord injuries. Terrible stuff that happens out there, but those people need daily help. Those are the most demanding types of clients, and we are fully capable of taking care of those types of clients. Other times you have people that are not necessarily old, but it could be 50s or 60s. They're stroke victims.
Those are just kids from my point of view.
Yeah, they're youngsters, but maybe they've had a debilitating stroke and they need to rehab. We can help with that sort of an individual. And then, of course, there are people born with disabilities who will always need help, and we can help with those individuals.
Now, just before we're running out of time again in this segment, not real close. We got a couple of minutes, but before we lose any of that time, I want to remind you that this is KMET 1490. You're listening to the Educated Radio. Our phone number is 951-922-3532. 951-922-3532. And Cynthia, give your name and contact information and who people should talk to, and if that's you, whatever, if they just want to call for information. And I know you're located in Orange County, but you've got the ability, and I'm sure you work in Inland Empire and all these other areas.
Yes, absolutely. So again, my name is Cynthia Sender, and the best number to reach us at Karis.
So you just call and say, Sender. I just talked to Cynthia and send her.
Exactly.
Okay,
you got it. That's my new tagline. And our phone number is 949-276-8413 at Care Assist Services. And I am a perfect person to contact, or Janice Adams, our founder and in-house RN who oversees the initial client visit.
And I've been over to the office, and it's really nice, and a lot more organized than what you're looking at. Actually, the Facebook feed there looks pretty good because you see the ceiling. And what Sean and the other people are looking at, it's not bad because it's staged. But boy, you ought to see the rest of this. I posted what the rest of it looks like on Facebook. But Cynthia's place looks, you've gone someplace professional. And we've been speaking with Cynthia Sender. So if you want to send her, where do they call you, Cynthia? And tell us more about what you have on the internet.
So we are in terms of home care, which is our business, Care Assist Services. Our direct number is 949-276-8413, and ask for Cynthia or ask for Janice, and we will be happy to help consult with you or your family on any issues, questions, and concerns about your aging family member or anyone else who may need help at home. And in terms of just some good information that touches upon many areas in the aging realm, I have a great blog. It's called Geri Care Advisor. That's GERI Care, CARE advisor.com. And there I discuss many topics that I delve deeper into issues about hospice and meals programs and other topics relevant to those who are aging in Orange County specifically, but anybody can read and learn about my.
Now, it's a good thing to be aging, correct? It's a good thing to be aging, because once you stop aging, there's a problem, right?
Exactly. We're all going in the same direction.
Okay.
And when we cease to age, that's it. So yes, it's good to be aging, but we want to be aging in a healthy way. We want to have healthy aging. I
kind of feel that a lot. I mean, look at me. Take 10 seconds and look, and try to keep your eyes open that long. I don't look like the healthiest person, do I? But I stay very, very active. And, I think I'm doing pretty good for 102 years old. But I think being active is really helpful, no?
Well, it is. And maintaining activity, maintaining social connections, maintaining family connections, some sort of activity, whether it's walking, which is just so beneficial, or playing cards at the senior center, which is good for the mind.
I can't do that because I'd have to be able to add, right?
Exactly. Ping pong is one of the best activities one can do to maintain mental sharpness, eye-hand coordination.
Video games.
Video games, yes, but you have to be able to see well and hear well. Some people struggle.
Baseball is good for all that too, and I'm not sure that'll work for us.
Yeah.
But some of us, I'm sure. Believe me, I know people my age are still active in soccer, and not me though. You have to kick balls and things with I can't even see my feet when I look down, so it's different. So do you have anything maybe for people to try to, I know you want to be the ones to help them when they need help, and maybe getting some partial help every now and then will keep the full-time help from coming as fast. Is that something that's true?
It's very true. And in addition to that, it's never there's not an amount of help that is required. So a lot of people don't want to make that phone call and start bringing help in because they think it's going to take over, quote, their household or their life. But somebody can come in for 4 hours a day and help sort the mail and help do some grocery shopping if your loved one no longer drives, and help out with tasks that nobody else is around to do. So 4 hours a day is a good benchmark as a starting point. 2 or 3 days a week. That's a typical start is about 15 to 20 hours a week.
I see. So, it's kind of affordable. More affordable if if you've got some help, if you've got, if you've got a company like yours working for you. Now, I'm not saying other companies may want to charge more or overcharge, but I'm sure you have to look at those things. You don't want to pick up, nor do you want to pick up your health care professional from Craigslist, right?
Exactly. You want to be careful with that for two important reasons. That elderly are prime targets for scams and abuse, financial abuse and other abuse. So the people on Craigslist are not background checked and screened and registered with the state. And also they are not they're not insured. The workers' compensation insurance is very important because it protects you, the person hiring them, should anything go wrong. Should they have a fall in your home, you are not liable. Whereas somebody not covered for insurance, a lot of bad things can happen, and
they want to go after you. You're already the one needing help, you and your family, and there's a lot. Now, speaking of, that's just more abuse.
There's opportunists out there, unfortunately, that look for these situations. So you have to protect yourself, and you have to go with people that know what they're doing and whose caregivers are reliable, trustworthy, and obviously compassionate and skilled. So that's what you want. That's what you want to look for.
And although I very seldom put in a big plug for reverse mortgages, I will here to the extent that they're not for poor people. If you get a reverse mortgage when you're younger, it doesn't cost that much, even though people say so. You don't lose equity unless you absolutely want to or need to, and in the meantime, your house is increasing. But if you get that reverse mortgage with a line of credit, you just put it on the shelf and it will grow It grows way faster than any bank will let it grow. And it's spending power that's growing, okay? It's the spending power that grows. So I'd like you to talk to me, and we'll talk about that. But if you've got that on the shelf, you're going to be tax-free, by the way. You're going to be much more inclined to take some of that tax-free money from an asset that's still growing in equity and call people like Cynthia to get the ball rolling earlier, because getting the ball rolling earlier has got to be much better. And to spend the rest of your time at home. Don't you think, Cynthia, most people want it at home, want to stay at home?
Most people
stay
prefer
healthy.
to stay. Yes, people prefer to stay in their homes as long as possible.
So let's talk that the last, believe it, I told you time was going to go fast, just like the last 70 some years did, this hour did. So one more time, your name and contact information before we have to go away for the week.
Yes, Cynthia Sender, and the Care Assist Services is our company. It's 949-276-8413.
And one more time?
949-276-8413. Care Assist Services.
Your blog can be found where?
And my blog, my senior care blog is GeriCareAdvisor.com.
How do you spell that?
GeriCare Advisor, ADVISOR.com.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sean, for which we couldn't have done it without. And thanks to everybody else who's been listening. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.